This is the true ending, an epilogue to Blue Tulips. In the original story, Drew waited for Kathy in the snow. He had blue tulips in his hand. She ran toward him, and then came the headlights. This is what happened after. If you haven't heard the original story yet, links are in the description. Now, let's continue. The true ending, a Blue Tulips epilogue. The snow was not gentle. It fell in thick, wet sheets, the kind that clung to wool and melted into skin, that turned the world soft and then cold and then cruel. Drew had been sitting on the bench for 47 minutes. He knew because he had checked his watch 11 times. 10 o'clock came. Nothing. 10:15. 10:30. The blue tulips sat beside him, wrapped in brown paper, their petals already beginning to curl at the edges. The florist had warned him. "They don't travel well," she had said. "They're not meant to last." Nothing was meant to last. He thought about Mila, the way she had cried when he told her, the way the door had closed behind him, not slammed, just closed, as if she had been expecting it for months. He thought about the years he had spent chasing Kathy, the flowers, the lunches, the silence he had learned to sit inside. He thought about the kiss in Vondelpark, the way her tears had mixed with snow, the way she had walked away. He thought about the headlights. He didn't know that yet, not really. But somewhere beneath his ribs, something knew. Something had always known. He stood up. The cold had settled into his bones and his legs felt heavy, as if the snow had been pulling at him all night, trying to keep him in place. He took a step, then another, and then he saw her, running. Her coat was open, flying behind her like a dark flag. Her boots slipped on the ice, but she didn't slow. Her face was flushed, her breath clouding in front of her, and she was looking at him, really looking at him, the way she never had before. Not with hesitation, not with fear, just him. Drew stopped walking. She stopped running. They stood 10 feet apart. The snow fell between them. The streetlights cast everything in soft amber. "Kathy," he said. She didn't answer. She was crying, but she was smiling too. The real one, the one he had been chasing for years. Not the sad smile, not the tired smile, the one she had been saving. "I'm here," she said. He nodded. "You're here." She took a step toward him, then another, and then she was close enough to touch. Her hand reached for his. Her fingers were cold. He held them anyway. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm sorry it took me so long. I'm sorry for every time I said no. I'm sorry for—" He stopped her, not with words, with his forehead against hers. Their breath mingled. The snow melted between them. "It's okay," he said. "You're here now." She closed her eyes. He closed his. And then, light. Not the amber glow of the street lamps, something brighter, harder. Two white eyes growing in the dark. He turned. Too late. The impact didn't feel like pain. It felt like release, like something inside him, something that had been holding on for years, finally let go. His body hit the ground. The snow was cold against his cheek. The blue tulips scattered around him, petals torn from their stems, spinning in the air, landing in the red that was spreading across the white. Kathy was screaming. He could hear her, but her voice sounded far away, as if she was calling to him from the other end of a long tunnel. He tried to move his hand. He couldn't. He tried to speak. His lips formed her name, but no sound came out. "Kathy." She was beside him now, her hands on his face, her tears falling onto his skin. She was saying something. "Stay, please stay, don't leave me." But the words were breaking apart, dissolving into the dark. He wanted to tell her it was okay. He wanted to tell her he didn't regret a single moment. Not the flowers, not the silence, not the years of waiting. But something else was happening. A pull, a shift, a sensation he couldn't name, like being lifted out of water after drowning for too long. His last thought was not of the snow, not of the blood, not of the blue tulips scattered like broken promises. His last thought was of her face, the way she had looked at him in that final moment. Not with hesitation, not with fear, just him. And then, nothing. He woke to a ceiling he did not recognize. White. Not the soft white of clouds or hospital sheets, the hard white of rented apartments, the white of walls that had never held a memory worth keeping. A ceiling fan turned slowly above him, its blades collecting dust, its rhythm uneven. He lay still for a long time. His body felt wrong, not in pain, just different. Heavier in some places, lighter in others. His hands, when he lifted them, were not the hands he remembered. Thicker fingers, a scar on the knuckle he had never earned. He turned them over, front and back, as if they belonged to someone else. Because they did. He sat up slowly. The room came into focus. A bed, a window, a desk with a laptop and a coffee mug, clothes folded on a chair, shoes lined neatly by the door. A life, already arranged, waiting for him to inhabit it. He stood, walked to the bathroom, flipped the light switch. The face in the mirror was not his. He stared at it for a full minute. Darker skin, a sharper jaw, eyes that were not the right shade of brown. He touched his cheek, and the face in the mirror touched back. His hand, his movement, but not his face. "Who are you?" he whispered. The face did not answer. He found a wallet on the desk, a phone, a set of keys. The driver's license said, Ethan Cruz, an address in Paris, a birth date that made him 29 years old. He stared at the photo, the face in the mirror, younger by a few years, smiling at a camera he did not remember. He opened the phone, scrolled through messages, conversations with people he did not know. A woman named Sophie who had signed off with, "Love you, see you tomorrow." A boss named Fournier who had sent a reminder about a meeting at 9. A group chat full of jokes he did not understand. He closed the phone. His hands were shaking. The apartment was small but well kept. A kitchenette with a single pot on the stove. A living room with a couch and a bookshelf. He ran his fingers along the spines of the books, titles in French. Some he recognized, most he did not. He opened the closet. Suits, jackets, a row of shoes. Everything neat, everything chosen by someone else. He sat on the edge of the bed and tried to remember. His name was Drew. He was sure of that. He had been sitting on a bench in Amsterdam, waiting for a woman named Kathy. It had been snowing. He had bought blue tulips. And then, nothing. No, not nothing. A sound, an impact, the feeling of something breaking and something else releasing. He had died. He was sure of it. But he was here, in Paris, in a body that was not his, living a life he had never lived. The days that followed were a blur of pretending. He went to the meeting. He called Sophie and told her he was fine, just tired. He answered to Ethan because he did not know what else to do. He smiled when people expected him to smile. He laughed when people expected him to laugh. But at night, alone in the apartment, he sat in the dark and tried to hold on to the fragments. Kathy. He remembered her face, the way her hair fell across her shoulders, the way she had looked at him in the park after the kiss, like she was seeing him for the first time. The bench, Vondelpark, the snow, the blue tulips, the song, her mother's tune. She had hummed it once in the elevator, and he had recognized it without knowing why. But the more he tried to hold on to these things, the more they slipped away, like water through fingers, like dreams dissolving at dawn. He started writing them down. Blue tulips, bench, snow, Kathy, Amsterdam. He kept the notebook under his pillow. He read the words every night before sleep, afraid that if he stopped, he would forget her completely. One morning, 3 weeks after waking, he found himself at Gare du Nord. He did not remember buying the ticket. He did not remember deciding to go, but there it was, in his hand, a train to Amsterdam, departing in 20 minutes. He could have turned back. He could have thrown the ticket away and returned to the life that was waiting for him. Sophie, Fournier, the apartment with the slow ceiling fan. Instead, he boarded the train. The journey was quiet. The French countryside blurred past the window. Fields, farms, small towns he would never visit. He stared at his reflection in the glass and tried to recognize the face looking back at him. He could not. By the time the train arrived in Amsterdam, the sun was already low. He walked out of the station and into a city he had never visited, but somehow knew. The canals, the bridges, the narrow streets with their crooked houses. He did not need a map. His feet knew where to go. He walked for an hour, maybe longer. The light faded, the streetlights came on, and then, without warning, he was there. Vondelpark, the bench. He stopped at the edge of the path and stared at it. Old wood, green paint peeling, the same unreliable lamp that had flickered above it on the night he had died. Except there was no snow now, only autumn leaves scattered across the ground like rust-colored coins. He walked toward the bench, sat down. The wood was cold against his thighs. He waited. He did not know what he was waiting for. A sign, a memory, a ghost. But nothing came. Only the wind. Only the distant sound of traffic. Only the slow, certain understanding that she was not here. He lowered his head. His hands hung loose between his knees. The tears came without permission. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a quiet release of something he had been holding for 3 weeks. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm sorry I couldn't stay." The bench did not answer. He sat there until the lamp flickered to life, casting its uncertain light across the empty space beside him. Then he stood, wiped his face, walked away. He did not know that she was only a few streets over, that she had never left Amsterdam, that she sat on this same bench every morning, watching the sun rise over the place where he had died. He did not know that the transfer was not complete, that fragments of Drew would continue to surface, in dreams, in sudden memories, in the inexplicable pull toward a city he had no reason to love. He did not know that the true ending had not yet begun,